What's going on, everybody? It's another video from OG Nerd King, and we're going to talk about a kind of controversial topic here, and it's about the style of women in anime, specifically shonen women, and why there's always a bit of controversy around how well or how bad women are written in the shonen genre. And I'm here to tell you today, they're not written badly in any of the shows. They're just not written for women. We have to go a bit into the weeds of it. If you look up the definitions of shonen, seinen, and shoujo, all of these are not genres. They are demographics of the audience, and they are designed with those demographics in mind. Shonen is designated for young boys, seinen designated for young men, and shoujo for young girls. And the reasoning for that is because these animes are not creating genres of work. They are creating work for the demographic of their people. Now, the reason that feels kind of odd, it might sound like I'm saying the same thing, but it's really not, due to the fact that in America, where we're from, for the majority of my audience, we look at genres as more of the world that they're in. Fantasy, sci-fi, comedy, real world, non-fiction, whatever you want to design in a library, that's how we view them. While in Japan, when it comes to making media of any kind, they strictly look at the demographic of who they're trying to reach out for and make things according to that demographic. Shonen anime is primarily aimed at adolescents between the ages 12 to 18. Shonen anime, of course, includes favorites like Naruto, One Piece, My Hero, and Demon Slayer. And shonen tends to have light-hearted stories full of action and adventure, and sometimes, if not often, the protagonist is a young male who has a quest or a dream that leads to gaining powers and abilities. And that's the thing. They're the main character every single time in most shonen when the main character is a male, and thus, the perspective of what they're going through and who they interact and meet or would want to meet, like as a young boy, is reflected in the writing of the female characters that they meet. And the reflection of the writing I refer to is that we have the tropes of, like, tsunderes, derederes, himaderes. For all those who know about the waifu terms, you can look up the Mother's Basement channel. He goes through a great video of explaining the different types of waifus. The point being is that men at this stage, the adolescent age, kind of do group women in groups, and therefore they can easily recognize these groups by certain personality traits, which is why the writers of these shows tend to craft their women in such a way that's easily recognized by their audience. And by their audience, I mean the Japanese audience, not the American audience. And that's kind of the crux of why I say maybe I want to make this video, is that I feel like a lot of the times that when you see people on Twitter, X is called now, or any other form of social media, dogging the certain writing styles of anime, it comes down to the fact that they don't realize that anime is not made to be in a genre. Anime is made to fit a demographic need or desire. And shonen women tend to be the most popular because shonen is the most popular demographic. Like, I want you to look into seinen anime, which translates to, of course, young youth, means usually targets adult men. Seinen shows usually cover things like politics, war, fantasy, sports, and even comedy, but these tend to have more mature themes and display more versions of violence and other more depraved things that happen in the real world. Some of the most known seinen right now, we get like One Punch Man, Berserk, Tokyo Ghoul, and OGs like Monster or Code Geass. And I want you to think about how the writing style of women in these kind of shows compared to shonen shows. The women there tend to be a little more put together, have their head on straight, and are generally more well written to the audience dismay in the West. Let's look at some of the women in seinen, like some of the more popular ones. You have CC and Callan from Code Geass. You've got Tatsumaki from One Punch Man. And you have, of course, from things like Attack on Titan, Annie, Historia, Sasha, Ymir. The list goes on. But all those women are incredibly well written and really beloved a lot in the anime community, especially in the West. But the ones who usually get the most flack from the anime community in the West are shonen women, specifically old 2000s shonen women. You have all the women of Naruto, you have the women of Bleach, you have the women of early One Piece, you have the women of Fairy Tail, you have the women of things like Rave Master, you have the women of Inuyasha, like again, 90s anime, but still considered in the genre because a lot of us didn't get most anime in the West till about the 2000s. Most of us grew up on those 2000s anime, and we look back on it very fondly. And for most anime fans, they don't really look at it that deep when it comes to the right styles of women back then, because it's just an anime show. It was shonen anime. We grew up on shonen anime. Dragon Ball Z, one of the biggest, if not the face of shonen anime. Chi-Chi and Bulma are great characters. Did they get a lot of screen time or a lot of limelight? No. It's because this anime genre is not a genre, it is a demographic to young men. This is about Goku, this is about Vegeta, Gohan, Piccolo, all the male characters take center stage in most shonen shows because that's what the audiences were trying to attract to watch the show. It is not made for women, and that's okay. That doesn't mean that these people are written poorly, it just means it's literally not for you. Now, in contrast to Shojo, which is for adolescent girls between the ages 12 to 18, they usually focus on things such as magic, romance, fashion. Shojos are not limited to these topics, just like Shonen is not limited to the topics that they cover. It's just this is what the niche is known for. Famous Shoujo anime includes things like Fruits Basket, Sailor Moon, and Nakakashi, among others. And these themes in the show tend to focus and primarily center around the main character, usually a female character, going through life and trying to figure out who she wants to be, the same way a guy character in a show figures out who they want to be. Like, these shows focus so much more on the dynamics of the relationships between male and female characters because that's what the demographic of people who are watching this enjoy. And that's the thing. The women in those shows, you would say, are expertly written or way beyond the pale comparison to shonen. And I would say it's not that they're better written, it's that they're written to appease the audience versus made to create an audience. And that's a distinction. A genre in America is made to fit that genre. Regardless of who the characters are in, the world itself basically matters more in the American style of creating media, while in Japan, the demographic that we're aiming for is the driving force of the show, regardless of the world it's in. A shoujo could be in space, and a shonen could be in school. We're once again dealing with kind of the Americanization of a Japanese media. Like, we have to stop putting our American thoughts and opinions toward the style in which Japan is creating these works of art that we all enjoy and clearly all consume, and keep thinking, well, they can do it better this way, or they can do it like this. We are not better than them. We did not create this. We sure inspired it, if you want to, with the loosest definition of bringing comic books to Japan during the end of World War II, which spawned the creation of manga. That is the loosest bit of credit you can give Americans. But outside of that, Japanese people have been doing this for over 50 plus years. They're very good at it. And given by the sheer size of anime conventions, anime merch, and how many animes are on Crunchyroll, they know what they're doing. And we need to stop judging all these characters based on what we believe they should be written like, because we're looking at genres versus they're looking at demographics. Like, I'm pretty sure if a lot of people said their favorite characters, especially the male anime fans, have said their favorite characters shonen anime, and there are certain women that, quote, weren't written the best, but are still people's favorites because they happen to just look nice or look pretty, they will get judged for that, and that's kind of dumb. Like, same how in shoujo anime, like Tuxedo Mask and other characters from Fruits Basket, and of course like Ouran High School Host Club, a lot of other guys look at those girls and be like, again, it's judgment on both sides. That's not my point. My point being is that there really shouldn't need to be, because they're not created through genre, they're created through demographics. So, of course, the guys will like the female characters in shonen anime because they're written to appease men, while shoujo, women will like the men in those shows because it's meant to appease women. That's the point of creating for an audience versus creating for a genre. And honestly, I think it's done better. This is why a lot of people, I would say the last 5 years or so with the pandemic and everything, have grown to like anime more. The anime space has exploded since COVID-19. So I'm gonna leave you guys off with this note as I wrap up for this video, and it's that we need to stop having American goggles when it comes to anime. We need to kind of look at what it is that we are being shown as what it is, not what you believe it to be. Shonen anime is never really going to change. Sure, we might have better examples of women, even though Noburo has not beaten those allegations of JJK and a few others, but I would say that we still can enjoy the backbone of the animes, like Demon Slayer. We all like Mitsurugi for one reason, and one reason only. She's hot. And that's fine, because we're guys. We're kind of liking the show, not only for the action, but for the women, like Shinobu as well. And I go along with other shonen that are happening right now, like Fire Force. It doesn't matter. The point being is, if you're a guy, you're gonna enjoy shonen. If you're a woman, you're gonna enjoy shoujo. But if you're the opposite, and you don't enjoy the other, that's fine, because it wasn't written for you. See you guys later.